Help! Time for homework help. Let's start. Welcome to homework. Let's get started right away. Here we have a question. No, actually, no, it's not a question. Well, it's kind of a question. It's a model. It's a modeled question. Gary is paid $4 for every hour he babysits. Mrs. Becker paid him for 5 hours of babysitting. Okay, real quick, let's take a timeout from reading. That's what this shows, doesn't it? $4. Right? And for 5 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. On the way home, Garrett spent $9 on a book and $6 on a puzzle. How much money did Garrett have left from the money he received from Miss Becker? So this is what you call a multi-step problem. That means more than a couple things are happening. One way to solve a multi-step problem is to use pictures. So think about it. $4 for 5 hours. The book says you can draw $4 5 times. And if you're good at multiplication or you want to add it up slowly, 4 times 5 is 20. But that's not how much money he had left. Because then he spent 9 and then he spent 6. So when you're spending money, what are you doing? You're getting rid of it. It's going bye-bye. 20 minus 9 equals 11. And we're not even done yet because we have that minus 6 right there. 11 minus 6. What's that? I don't care how you figure it out. Use your fingers. Draw a picture. But you got to get this simple subtraction correct. 11 minus 6 is 5. Final answer, that little bit they have left over, is 5. Or $5. Oh, I forgot to mention, you should be on page 78 and 79. So we use the bar model, but you can also use equations. So this equation matches the problem on page 78. It said that he made $4 for 5 hours of work, so that's 5 times 4. And then he spent 9 and he spent 6, so they added up everything he spent. And what this says right here, this B right here, that B is how much money Miss Becker gave Garrett. Why a B? Just because it starts with, it's the first letter of Becker, and that's like the money she gave him. So you do 5 times 4 first, so you know what B is. 5 times 4, B is actually 20. And then you go ahead and minus what's in this parentheses right here. 9 plus 6, which is 15. And like we did a couple seconds ago, 20 minus 15 equals 5. So I hope you're seeing that the main skills here are to be able to solve a multi-step problem, often by making up your own little equation that matches what's going on. Ooh, excuse me, sorry about that. What part of the problem is represented by the times 4 in the equation B equals 5 times 4? So think about the whole problem we read with Miss Becker and that stuff. What is the times 4 thing? What is that? It's simple. That's the $4 she pays him per hour. Right? That's the $5 she pays per hour. Why are the two amounts that he spent in parentheses in the equation? So parentheses, if you've never heard this before, means that you do it first. And why would they tell you to do 9 plus 6 first? So you can subtract everything he spent all at once. Alyssa combined the two equations into one equation. L equals 20 minus 9 plus 6. What does the 20 in her equation represent? Well, remember, it was $4 for 5 hours. So 5 times 4 is 20, and that 20 is what? That's all the money he had in the beginning. Was it he or she? It was a he. It was Garrett in the problem. All the money Garrett had in the beginning. Oop, I spelled that wrong. There you go. Then use the equation L equals 4 times 5 minus 9 minus 6. Is his equation correct? Explain. Well, 4 times 5 is 20. And you do that first because anything that's in parentheses goes first. Minus 9 minus 6. And 20 minus 9 will equal 11. But we still got to do the minus 6 part. And 11 minus 6 equals 5. So even though that's a different equation than what they showed you right here, it still equaled 5 at the end. So is that correct? You'd say yes, because both equations equal 5 in the end. Explain how it's possible for two equations to look different but still show the same problem. Sometimes you can do certain pieces of math first, but it won't change your final answer. And I say sometimes in the beginning because if you're not careful, if you do the wrong thing first, then you can mess up your answer. Like, for example, over here, with 4 times 5 equals 20 and minus 9 minus 6, if I had done this first, let's pretend it at first. 9 minus 6 is 3. Then I can do 4 times 5, that's 20. And then I can do 20 minus 3. And that equals 17. But 17 is not even close to the correct answer. 5 was the correct answer. So as you can see, I proved it right there. If you do things, if you ignore the parentheses especially, you can really mess up your problem. You can really mess up your answer. Alright, now we got to do a different problem using all the stuff we just learned. Here we go. There were 4 vans and 2 cars going to a museum. 4 vans, 2 cars. Each van carried 9 people. Each car carried 3 people. Write an equation to represent the number of people who traveled in a van. Then write an equation to represent the number of people who went to the museum. Alright, so it says do the van first. So how many vans were there? Don't freak out. Oh my God, there's so much there. No, relax. Okay, one step at a time. There's no need to rush. All right. So they talk about vans first. So how many vans are there? 4. Now read carefully. Read carefully. Did they say anything else about the vans? Yes, they did. They said each van carried 9 people. So each van carried 9 people. Each is trying to tell you multiply, and 9 is trying to tell you 9. Okay? So for van, it's as simple as 4 times 9 equals, and where's your multiplication tables at? Come on. 4 times 9 is 36. You have got to know your times tables, because as you can see, it's not the times tables that are the real problem. It's solving this multi-step word problem. And your times tables are just a small piece of that. Anyway, what's next? Then write an equation to represent the total number of people who went to the museum. Well, we have 36, but we're not done yet. Do you know why we're not done yet? Because we talked about the vans, but we haven't talked about the cars. You know, read the whole problem. Don't forget pieces, okay? So it's going to be the 36 people who rode in the van plus, what else? Well, I'm going to put this in parentheses because I know I have to do something else first. What do I have to do first? I have to figure out what's going on in the cars. So there are 2 cars, okay, and each car carried 3 people. So each car, 3 people. All right. So if we do all this math, it's going to tell us the grand total. 2 times 3 is 6, and then you got 36 plus 6. Well, what's 36 plus 6? The answer, 42. 42 people. All right, guys. Well, that's all the homework you have for tonight. This number 7, being able to do it all by yourself, that's a big chunk of what you have to be able to do as a 4th grader. And I'm not just talking about this week. I'm talking about like the whole year. So this is your test right here. Obviously, it's easy to do it when I'm, showing you. But try just like doing it by yourself, seeing if you remember where all the pieces go, And if you can do it, well, you're in very good shape. All right, guys. I'll see you for next one. Bye.